From the federal conservative leadership race, Patrick Brown disqualified now over allegations that he broke campaign financing rules. The organizing committee released a statement last night alleging serious wrongdoing by the Brown campaign. Brown responding with an early morning statement saying those allegations are unfounded and claiming this is all an attempt from the party to ensure his rival, Pierre Poilievre, wins the race set for September the 10th. It is a big story, and you're just waking up to it today. Let's bring some perspective to the matter with Vassy Kapelos, who's the host of Power and Politics here on CBC News Network, up early for us, and I really do appreciate it, Vassy. I would imagine your phone is blowing up this morning. What are you hearing from contacts and sources as to what has unfolded?
A lot of shock, disbelief, and awe for the most part that it got to this point, but not a huge amount of surprise that it involved the Patrick Brown campaign. And let me explain what I mean there. There certainly had been some discussions in the lead up to this decision last night. I had heard rumblings of some sort of concern around the rules around elections financing. I don't want to give you the impression that there's a huge amount of detail about what that means, but certainly there had been, like political gossip, I guess you could say, for lack of a better way of characterizing it, around some of the things that had been happening in the lead up to this point. But I don't think, and at least my impression from the people I'm speaking to today, that they expected it to culminate in the decision that came down last night. And what did happen last night is that the Leadership Organizing Committee, or as it's kind of known, LEOC, got together and made this decision, as you said, based on what they are alleging is some sort of wrongdoing involving the financing of this campaign. The National Post is reporting that could involve, sources are telling them that it could involve a private company paying the salaries of members of the Patrick Brown campaign. But I also think it's important to note, as you did, that Patrick Brown's campaign is saying none of this is true, that due process was not followed, and they contend they didn't have the opportunity to kind of fight back against these or counter these allegations. They said that there had been some questions directed to them, a number of questions over the past few days. They insist their lawyers were cooperating. The party tells a different story. The party says that we provided them with ample time to refute these allegations, and they didn't do so. So I think part of the problem here is just how little detail there is about the specific nature of the allegations. Yes, we understand that it involves election financing, but that's a really broad category. So it will be really fascinating today to see how much kind of meat on the bone there is around the specificity of the allegations, and then, how the Brown campaign intends to continue countering them if they're provided that opportunity at all. They will be probably in the media, but beyond that, with the party, that's a big question.
There'll be a big search for those details because, as you say, we haven't had many yet. And Ian Brody, who leads the leadership committee, has said there will be no further comment while this is going on. The Charest campaign, though, has been saying it wants transparency. So will there be pressure to make some more of these details public, Vassy?
Yeah, I'm just sorry for looking down. I'm just looking at my phone here because I've got a statement from the Charest campaign that they just gave me on what's happening. They say, this news from LEOC is deeply troubling. We expect further communications from LEOC on the allegations of wrongdoing. We must ensure integrity of the process. Members deserve the truth. We need to understand what the allegations are and how Patrick Brown's campaign responded. Transparency is paramount. So exactly as you point out, Heather, there will be a lot of questions, I think, from the membership, from people that Patrick Brown's campaign signed up. And as you can see from other candidates in this race, this is a big deal. It's not just sort of a slap on the wrist. You're being completely disqualified from running after months of doing so. So show us the receipts kind of thing. Show us exactly what the allegations are. I just have a feeling that's going to be an uphill battle. I don't, as you said, Ian Brody, who heads up LEOC, certainly didn't seem, the statement was put out. They said what they said they could, but it didn't seem as though they were going to get into the specifics anytime soon, which creates, I think, a whole layer of, an additional layer really of questions around the race and the transparency of it.
So The reporting has been that from Patrick Brown's campaign that the party or the organizing committee got to look at those numbers. That's 675,000 members who have signed up now to take part in the vote for the new leader. And it didn't favor Pierre Poilievre. And so that's why he's making sort of in these statements the allegations that this is meant to ensure Pierre Poilievre's victory in all of this. How is this all likely to affect the race?
I mean, it's difficult to determine exactly how at this point, just because it's all so fresh. But I think what you point out there, look, it's important to remember this is not just any race. 675,000 people, more than any other leadership race in Canadian history, I believe, have signed up. I don't want to say pronounce that, but at least I remember covering. That's more people than I've ever remembered signing up to a leadership race. So this is a big deal to disqualify at this point of the race somebody who is already in it. I think the question now becomes, is there any way in which, if there is evidence provided by the Brown campaign to counter what these allegations are, that he's ever permitted back in it? It certainly didn't sound like that from Leoc. And then it becomes a question of, okay, where do his supporters go? Do they naturally gravitate towards Jean Charest, who, of course, it was rumored at the beginning of this campaign, had an even formalized pact with Patrick Brown because they are so ideologically similar? I'm not sure it's a given that that will be the case, right? I'm not sure you can just assume people who signed up specifically to the party to vote for Patrick Brown. And Patrick Brown contends there are 150,000 of them. You can't just assume that they're going to gravitate towards, you know, one candidate or the other, or any of them at all. So I think it throws a huge change bomb into this campaign, right? It's already been a controversial, interesting campaign. This just ups the ante even more. I mean, Patrick Brown was among the front runners. I think there's no disputing that Pierre Poilievre is the front runner, but he was among the top candidates. So this is a huge wrench. This I think will make a big difference.
I wonder what will be on your program today, Vashi. Thank you so much.
Mr. Brown himself, I believe. So we'll hear from him.
All right. Thank you so much for the time today and your assessment. Much more to come on this. Vashi Kapelos, thank you.